When I first got started, I thought the secret to having perfect persuasion was by having a perfect pitch. What I found out later was that the real secret is understanding human psychology, both your own psychology, but also the psychology of the people you're trying to influence. And when I understood that, it changed everything. Today, I found something really unique and interesting if you're interested in psychology, persuasion, mind control, or just understanding how your own brain works. Obviously, I collect a lot of books, but this one was interesting for me because it didn't come as a book. It came as one of the original home study courses. You obviously could put this in a book, but instead he put them into a whole bunch of booklets, which is the way that they would position this differently back in the day as a home study course versus a book. And so the book set, home study course, if you want to call it, is called Practical Psychology by Henry Knight Miller. And inside of here, he's teaching a lot about psychology, how you can use it to understand yourself better, but also how to use it to be able to persuade, influence, and help other people and move them towards things that you would like them to do ethically, or honestly, you can use them unethically, but we are people who use these concepts ethically. I bought it as part of a package. The cost probably for this specific part of the book set was about $500. But it was fascinating for me because I love learning about psychology, right? Everything we do in marketing and sales is about human psychology, but most people don't ever study the actual human psychology side of things, right? They study more so sales and persuasion and things like that. If you really want to understand how to use sales and persuasion, like understanding psychology and how it works is the key to everything. It's the underlying principle. One of the earlier videos I did on the channel, I talked about the book Propaganda, written by a guy who is the nephew of Sigmund Freud, right? And Sigmund Freud's obviously talking about psychology for like therapy, and that book was written from the other angle of like, here's psychology for persuasion and for like moving the masses. And so I love looking at these books because of that. And this book's called Practical Psychology because he wasn't a psychologist, but he was trying to understand how can you use psychology to influence yourself, how you can influence others. And so that's what's inside of this book set. And there's so many cool lessons and things that were really cool. And I'm gonna pull out a couple of them that I think are things that are very relatable that you can use if you are creating a YouTube video, or if you are creating a webinar or a challenge, or you're trying to sell somebody something, if you're trying to get your message out to more people. That's what the home study courses we're gonna be talking today is Practical Psychology by Henry Knight Miller. And there are all the books. One of the things that Henry talks about here in this book is something that obviously we understand nowadays, the way our human brain works. Back then, it was fun because all these early authors were like learning about it and discovering, and they were trying and testing things out. One thing he talks about here is how the subconscious mind doesn't reason, right? Anything that we consciously put into our subconscious mind takes as truth, okay? So if you tell yourself like, hey, I'm losing weight every single day. Hey, I'm happy today. Hey, like whatever we tell our subconscious mind is not debating back and forth. Like, are you sure? It's not fighting us. It just accepts it as truth. You know, if you want to become your own practical psychologist in your own life, like understanding that's the reason why having a positive mental attitude and like looking at good things and watching good things is so powerful, because whatever your conscious mind tells the subconscious, it will believe. It's not fighting things back and forth. It's not reasoning with you. If we know that, it's like, let's choose things and let's tell our subconscious mind things that actually are going to benefit us, right? So that's number one. But then you start thinking about this when you're looking at sales and persuasion. You know, I'm speaking at a seminar or an event and I need to get somebody to understand something. I realize that I'm having a conscious conversation with somebody. But if I can tell somebody something, especially through story or visuals or imagery, things like that, that speak more to the subconscious mind, if I can do that, those things will impress upon their subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is not going to debate me back and forth. Okay, it's going to take what I tell it as truth, as reality. I see this more so like when people are doing one-on-one sales, right? They're having a conversation with someone and they're trying to consciously convince somebody logically of these things that are true. A lot of times when we're speaking one to many, like we do whenever most of us internet nerds are trying to sell something or persuade somebody, we're speaking to the masses, right? I'm making one video right now. It's going to be seen by hopefully 10, 20, 30,000 people. And so because of that, I'm not having this conscious conversation with you. Instead, I'm going to weave in stories and things like that that'll bypass your conscious and impress upon your subconscious mind, right? So that's these lessons of practical psychology. You understand how psychology works. It's like, okay, now that I understand that, like what are the messages, what are the stories I need to tell that are going to go get impressed upon some subconscious mind so they will believe the things they need to believe so that I can help them to move, to help them to change, and help them to have a better life. And then from there, he goes into a lot of different lessons that break this down into even more concrete examples. And I want to pull a couple of them because I think they're powerful. So one of the lessons he talks about, imagination. He says, when you start understanding imagination, it's not just a tool for fantasy, right? A lot of people think of imagination is like, oh, I'm gonna sit there, I'm gonna daydream about this or that. Like, and there are times and places for that. It's like, I think why a lot of us like going to movies. I love going to movies to detach from the world and like use my imagination to have fun, right? He talks about how imagination isn't just for fantasy, right? Imagination is also about the creation of what you want to have, what you want to be successful with. Everything I'm going to be sharing today is twofold. Number one is like how to use it on yourself personally, but number two is how to use it when you are trying to persuade and influence somebody else. So the first is for yourself. Your subconscious mind, when you start painting these pictures, you start imagining things. Once again, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between fact and reality. So for me, one of the things I do, and this is actually something I learned originally from Neville Goddard, I think I talked about in an earlier video. At nighttime, what I try to do is instead of thinking about all the tasks and to-dos and things I have to do throughout the day, instead, I try to visualize the end result of my ideal, the thing that I really want, like my crazy vision of trying to make come to pass, right? Because all of us, like, especially if you get into business, you've got a crazy vision. Like you want to do something insane. Like you want to build a business, you want to create a movement, you want to like whatever the thing is that you are trying to create and develop, right? We talked about here with imagination, like you have to imagine that. You have to see the end state of what it looks like. I think a lot of people, especially people who don't consider themselves visionaries, like I'm not a visionary, I can't see where we're going. And it's because you're not using your imagination to visualize, right? Like I'm daydreaming all the time. A lot of you guys know one of my big projects right now is I'm building an entire 20,000 square foot home for all my books and all these crazy things because I want to be able to share them with the world. I want to have people come to this event center. I want to be able to show it and teach it and talk about it. And like, that's like my vision. I want to write books where I'm going through these books and curating them and like bringing out just new, unique ideas and things like that from the past to today. And so for me, it's like I visualize that all the time. And when you start imagining, your subconscious mind will then start figuring out ways to solve the problems, figure out ways to actually create that vision and make it become a reality. That's the personal development side. Now let's transition to you as an influencer, you as someone who is trying to persuade somebody. Your job when you're crafting messages and ideas is to paint that vision for them. Most people struggle to be visionaries. So the people that are the best, the ones who can sit down and you can paint a picture of the vision. I remember when I first started in this game 25 years ago, I was learning business, I was learning marketing. One of the guys who was the biggest brand at the time was Robert Allen. How many of you guys have ever heard of Robert Allen? He had a book called No Money Down. His attractive character origin story was fascinating, where he told the newspapers, like, put me in any town in America with $100 and within 24 hours, I'll bought a house and no money down, or within 30 days, or I can't remember what the hook was. And then he actually did this. And he did this stunt multiple times throughout the country. People saw it. He would do this and he would sell tons of books and courses and coaching. And so I kept watching him do this, right? He was like the biggest influencer at the time when I got started in this game. And so for me, like I'm funnel hacking him, I'm studying him, like looking what he's doing. And so I'm opting into things. I'm buying the book. I'm trying to see the process. It was fascinating. After I bought the book, and again, I'm not even into real estate. Like I wasn't interested in that. I was just interested in like seeing the process of how he had built this persona. I opted in and then they had a teleseminar. Now, for all the kids out there, you probably don't know what a teleseminar is, but this is before we had webinars or Zooms or YouTube or anything. So what would happen is that they would give you a phone number. Like, here's a phone number, call it tonight at 7:00 and something amazing is gonna happen. And so you wait till 7:00, you pick up the phone, you call the phone number and you pick it up and all of a sudden you'd be listening in on a call. And so I'd be listening to this call. And so Robert Allen did these calls, he called them the vivid vision calls. And it was really cool because what he was trying to do is help everybody to cast and create a vivid vision. Okay, he's talking about imagination. Same thing that Henry Knight Miller's talking about here in Practical Psychology is how do you create that vivid vision? Because if he wants to sell somebody something, the only way you sell anything is like you have to create a gap between the ideal of what somebody wants and where they are today, right? And a lot of people don't have a vision, so there's no gap. So they're like, I'm not happy, but I don't know where I'm going. And so if there's no gap between where they are and where they want to go, there's nothing to sell. There's no way to persuade, to move, to influence, or anything. And so what you have to do is you have to create this gap between where they are today and the ideal, the vision, as Robert Allen would call it, the vivid vision where you're trying to get them to be. So there's the gap. And so what he would do is then he would take people through this exercise where you have them close your eyes and like, hey, I want you to visualize your vivid vision. In fact, you actually do it right now with me, right? Visualize what that looks like. And not just like, it's a nice car, a nice house, or family. It's like visualize it, but we want to get it like visceral inside of you. Like visualization is not just like, okay, I'm thinking about my dream thing. It's like, you got to see it, smell it, taste it, touch it. And so when Robert Allen will take you this exercise and you sit there and you have you close your eyes and be like, okay, what does it look like? Where are you? Like, what's your future self doing in 20 years from now? Like, what does your home look like? When you walk in the house, like, what does it smell like? Like, is it warm? Is it cold? Like, what does it feel like? What is your dream spouse? Like, what do they look like coming in? And do you have kids? Do you not have kids? Is there a dog? Is the dog barking? What is it? And it gets you into this thing where it's like, you start visualizing this ideal, the thing that you want. And again, you're using all your senses as you're visualizing. And you take people through a process for like an hour, right? And he's creating this vivid vision. And also what happens is that it shows people like, this is what I really want in life. This is where I am today. And it creates this gap. Now again, twofold. If you're trying to do this for yourself personally, like, creating that gap will give you like the motivation and desire to actually achieve the thing, right? The more you visualize this, the more you see it, taste it, smell it, touch it, it's huge for you. And a lot of people I have who come to my world who are like, I can't motivate myself. I can't figure out how to get to the next step. And it's like, because you're not using your own psychology, right? Start learning psychological principles, like how to use your own psychology to be successful. So it's like creating that gap for yourself. And then again, as you're trying to influence people, it's like, how do I create that gap for them? When we were running our funnel hacking live events, we bring 5,000 entrepreneurs in the room. Like I would bring people on stage. We had guests who were speaking speaking, and the goal of those people was to show people who may be their ideal. So I would always have men, I'd have women, all sorts of different people from different aspects of life who would speak on stage, because I was like, one of these people is going to resonate with them. I'm going to be like, that's a representation of the future me that I want. Like, that's someone I'm going to model. Those are some of the things I learned from this insanely cool home study course, Practical Psychology by Henry Knight Miller. Again, this is something that you can't find anywhere. These are one of these rare gems that, like, maybe one or two of these home study courses left on the planet. When I find them, I do everything I can to buy them. This was published in 1924. If you're interested in like what happens, all the other lessons, I think there's 14 different lessons here inside Practical Psychology. We did put together my note sheet, kind of goes through all these lessons so you can pull out the best gems from this. If you're interested in my note sheet, there's a link down below. Click on that. You can download my notes and get the Cliff Note version. Other than that, if you really want to go deep on this, you can go searching for another copy. But if one pops up on the internet, I'm going to buy it first. So we'll be in a bidding war. So if you want the best stuff from this one, curate it out. Make sure you get the notes down below. Other than that, I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys on the next one.